Hey, I'm Shane, and today I'm joined with Olivia, and Olivia's going to share her experiences with doing a boudoir session. So Olivia, so you mentioned, so we've done a couple shoots before, and you were telling me about your first session.
The first session we did it in 2018, and I had a lot of things going on in my life at that point. I just graduated grad school, starting my new job, studying for a really big exam, and I was also like coming to terms with a lot of body dysmorphia issues that I was experiencing and that I have experienced. And I thought like, okay, I got into marathon running. My body's in really great shape. I know Shane's an awesome photographer, so like let me ask him to do this shoot with me. And so leading up to it, I was really nervous and just wanted to kind of change the perspective of how I saw my body. And that I was able to do that during the shoot. After the shoot when we went over the photos, and I think you remember like I almost cried on the phone because I was so enamored with these pictures of this woman that looks so beautiful and strong and just happy with who she is, and I was like, wait, that's me. And you presented that to me, so it was an amazing and eye-opening experience. Oh my god, I'm gonna get teary-eyed right now. But it was a life-changing experience because I was well on my way to getting to that point of being happy with who I am in this body that I call home. But it wasn't until I was presented with this physical evidence of that I was truly able to say like, hey, like you've made it really far. Like what you're seeing in front of you doesn't really match up with what's in your head. What's in your head isn't like physically manifested in front of you. So like, hey, like let's change that narrative. Let's change the way you talk to yourself. Change the way that you see yourself, and baby steps. And like that was just like the catalyst to me having an even healthier relationship with how I see myself. And during the shoot, you made me feel super comfortable. You're asked me what I wanted to do, asked me what I wanted to wear, and like it just made me laugh, made me smile, made me comfortable. It was just an overall great experience. Especially like boudoir shoots, you don't have to be like buck naked, but you are in clothing that is usually pretty private, pretty reserved for like special eyes only. And like being able to share that and be comfortable in that space
Mm,
is really, really important.
yeah, and this was your first time doing anything like this, right?
Yeah. Up until that point, I think only, not including of like my mother or doctors, I think only like two people had ever seen me naked, and one of them was on accident.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and yeah, especially like that first one was such a fun day, and I remember we had like a lot of fun. Like not all the photos are like super like just typical serious sexy photos. A lot of them were like really just like kind of playful and funny photos too.
Mhm. It
Um,
really reflected what I wanted, like my personality and your style. They kind of blended really well.
yeah, and that's also like for me like my process is really like I describe it more of like a collaborative process. Like I'm not there to like teach you how to pose. I'll show you how to I'll help you get comfortable in front of the camera, and then like I'll see like what energy you bring into the shoot, because your shoot is totally different from like other shoots I've done. Every shoot's totally different. um and I feel like we were able to capture like aspects of your personality and like your playfulness and kind of your cheeky side. um and yeah, it was a super good time. And so like afterwards you feel like do you feel like you go back to those photos? And how do you feel like looking through them again?
Occasionally I'll like look through them and I'll take a look at how I feel about those photos now versus how I felt about them when I first got them. And I think I still think they're beautiful and I still think they're really great. Um, but I think that as I've gotten a little bit older, um, it's another like part of me that I'm like, okay, that was the first step in honoring your body.
Hmm.
Like even at that point, um, I wasn't, I still was like struggling with it, but now I feel a lot better. And I'm like, okay, that woman there is gorgeous. She's strong. She's healthy. And then look, she was the foundation to who I am now
Hmm.
and who I will become. So it makes me really happy to see them. I don't think I look at them as often as I did when I first got them,
Yeah.
but it's a happy reminder of like the work that I've put in.
Yeah. And we also shot again during the pandemic. We did a virtual session, um,
Mm-hmm.
and what I think is kind of interesting, and I always, I know a lot of people kind of have this idea of like boudoir as being kind of like, a bucket list thing that like they'll do it once when they're young and beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and then like, resign
Yeah.
themselves to getting old and ugly for the rest of their lives, which is, completely
Mm-hmm.
not true at all. And our second shoot, when we did the virtual shoot, it was 2 or 3 years after we did that first shoot, and like,
Mm-hmm.
you're a totally different woman in those photos. Like you're so much more self-confident and like present in your body in ways that are just like, like I feel like people wouldn't even know it was the same two people almost. Could you talk about your experience with that virtual shoot?
Yeah, so I completely agree. So that second shoot was during the pandemic. I remember it was a weekend in August and you got up super early because we of the time difference.
Oh yes.
Um, but with that one, I like I said earlier that like I look at the photos from our first shoot and I think like, okay, she is the base of who I am now. The one we did in August was sort of like a check-in, but
Mhm.
also a another just like acknowledgement of this person that I've become. That I'm now licensed. I passed all of my exams. I am in a great relationship with myself. I am doing wonderfully at work, and it was all of that like positive, all of that, these like great positive things that are in my life are manifesting in how I and all the energy that I bring into the world. And like for that shoot, I was again super nervous, but I also was like, all right, I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this.
Mhm.
I bought myself some like really nice lingerie, bought myself some like cheeky underwear, and I was like, all right, let's do this thing because I wanted to see, okay, like you've done so much work, like where's the physical like evidence, where's that product? And that's something that I need for myself to be okay with like who I am.
Mhm.
And it's nice to like I don't need it 100% of the time, but it's really nice to see it and have it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, and how do you think that I mean obviously like when we do a shoot like that, we kind of like I think like the biggest part of it is like giving yourself permission to like kind of play and explore
Mhm.
that side of yourself. And so like you said, like it kind of like gave you an excuse to like, okay, like I'm nervous, but you're like, hey, like let's go all out. And you kind of were able to kind of like enact, or create like this almost little fantasy world of like, here you are
Mhm.
in your, personal space and just kind of able to like freely express yourself.
Yep. And you're right. Like you do have to like give yourself permission to feel like give yourself permission to do those things, to take that leap of faith with a boudoir shoot, with your body, with how it is. And I think a really big part of giving yourself that permission is also having the environment of like there's no judgment, there's no fear, there's no well, there's fear, but there's no fear of judgment for who you're bringing. And I think it's super important to have the person who's on the other side of the camera also like creating that very comfortable and judgment-free space. Like you said, it's a collaboration, working with whoever you're shooting, matching their energy, vibing with their energy. And if they're nervous, like you stop and take a break and you say like, hey, like, what are you feeling? How can I help? How can I make you more comfortable? What do you want to do? And I'll work with what you want to do and what you're comfortable with. And you did that a lot on during the first shoot, when I had a little bit like, when I had a lot more nerves. But this for the second shoot, it was okay, like what are you trying to do? What is your energy? And then we just like checked in with each other as we were doing. I was like, is this okay? You're like, yeah, could you do this thing? I'm like, okay, well, I'm comfortable with this point. Can you meet me like halfway? And that sort of collaborative process again created something where it was a beautiful blend of your style and my personality.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And just I'm thrilled. We got so many beautiful images through that. Well, thank you very much, Olivia. I want to be respectful of your time. Do you have any last messages for anyone who might be thinking about doing a shoot and is kind of like on the fence or just wondering what it might be like?
I want to say like totally do it. It's if you are not doing it because you think your body's not ready, or because you think you'll do it at a later time, or you want to just like put it off for another reason, like that's fine. But also remember that your body is perfect, your body is beautiful. And Shane actually does an amazing job of just capturing that beauty and that essence and the personality of who you are and who you bring.
Oh, awesome. I feel all warm and fuzzy inside just hearing that. All right. Well, thank you so much, Olivia. Yeah, well, thank you for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Shane.